Are you serious? Let's go back. This is The Pacific Ocean is Dying, Part 2. The interview with Ken Jensen, the scientific researcher, Vancouver, Canada.
We don't know why the starfish are melting away. Well, this is going to present that evidence that it is nuclear radiation melting the crustaceans and the starfish. Please go ahead and read this, Paul.
All right, here we go. Shell and U.S. Navy are planning. Wait a minute. Let me get the article. Here we go.
Now scroll down, Paul.
Yeah, I got
scroll
it.
Down.
Until
you see the white link.
As tons of radioactive water continue to spew out of the reactor number 1 at Fukushima, there's no argument from the scientific community about the spread of these poisonous substances across the Pacific Ocean. More research into whether Fukushima radioactive pollutants are responsible for warming the seawater temperatures, which are proving disastrous to sea lion pups, seabirds, dolphins, and turtles, and sea stars. It demonstrates an alarming picture. Millions of sea stars up and down the west coast of North America have died. We know that's true. We've done video on it. We've seen it. Reduced to mounds of white goo. You see, the sea stars, it turns out, are sentinels for nuclear waste.
Nuclei. So what they do is they absorb it. They're the first animal on the ocean floor to absorb the radionuclides.
So if we see millions, and we've seen it just a week or two ago, millions of dead crabs and sea stars. I mean, millions of these sea stars are dead. You're saying it's because they have grabbed the radiation. Of course, it killed them.
Well, you know what? What science teaches us is that the first things to go in a nuclear spill are the small creatures, right? So we're talking about in the ocean, it would be the crustaceans, the sea stars, the first thing to go. Then it works itself up the chain. You know what's interesting, Paul, is that we're at the end of the chain, and I have spoken to actually an expert since me and you have spoke, and he tells me that you know what? I don't even want to say it because I'm still trying to grasp what he told me.
Tell me.
I was trying to get him on the radio today. He actually said that Fukushima is an extinction level event for the world.
Wow. So, in other words,
anyways, I want you to read on here because there's a study here. So let's go to nuclear waste 20 years ago.
Okay, here we go. Give me 1 second. The same link or the next link?
No, same article.
Okay, let me find it. 20 years ago, I gotta find it. Okay.
Okay, here, Paul, I'll just start off. Nuclear waste 20 years ago, the U.S. government gave money to researchers to study the impact of long-lived radionuclides, which might leak from Russian nuclear waste in the Arctic. So here we go. Here's some more evidence. The study was to assess the extent to which sea stars and other similar species accumulate radioisotopes and can be used as a bioindicator of released radioactive waste. Yet, in spite of this evidence, the U.S. government has made no connection between the massive loss of millions of sea stars and the spread long-living radioactive isotopes from Fukushima into the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
Results of experiments so far have indicated that sea stars can accumulate diverse radionuclides, making them very effective bioindicators of any released radionuclides from disposed radioactive waste. So our starfish are the first things going to tell us there's something wrong and that there's radiation in the water.
Right.
This is where it gets interesting.
Look what it says. And then the next point he says, as one scientist reported saying, I was surprised to see not only how many individual sea stars were dying, but how many different species. Later I learned the entire western U.S. was actually affected. That was very shocking. Earlier this year, dead sea stars washed up on the coast of Wales. Thousands of sea stars washed up on the stretch of the Welsh Beach. Between 2008 and 2012, Shellefeld, a nuclear reprocessing site close to the village of Seascale, I think it is, on the coast of the sea in Cumbria, England, had legally spewed 13 trillion of these into the Irish Sea by a pipeline. So the world experienced record-breaking ocean temperatures in 2014. And for the first time, these increases were not due to El Nino. And although it's extremely difficult to reach definitive conclusions about the cause of the astonishing increase in seawater temperatures, the lack of any major research into the impacts of Fukushima radioactive pollutant releases on the Pacific Ocean are nothing short of a crime against nature. As one scientist says, Fukushima makes the Pacific Ocean a radioactive garbage dump. Are you serious?
So this goes to show that we have an example of what happens to starfish with nuclear radiation. So now we have evidence that the nuclear radiation is in the Pacific Ocean because we are aware that all the starfish are dying.
We're not hearing that, Ken. The mass media, the mainstream media in America doesn't even talk. They'll never even touch the word radiation in the Pacific Ocean. It's never uttered.
Well, I'm going to go back to Gunderson. He actually has done a bunch of talks down in the United States. And you know what? At one of the conferences he went to, he actually asked one of the mayors of the communities down there in the U.S. if there was a nuclear reactor leak, would they evacuate and tell the population of that community? Do you want to know what the mayor's answer was? Absolutely not.
What? What? In other words, it doesn't matter about the human safety. If it makes them look bad politically or become a major headache, they're just not going to tell people. And their reason's going to be, we don't want to create a pandemic. They don't want to create a stampede of,
That's exactly right. So you know what now, Paul?
Yeah.
What I want to do is go to the next link where we're going to show here on graphs. So the next link would be where I have April 11th, 2015.
Okay. And he takes you to the next link, which will show you how the water levels since Fukushima, the Pacific Ocean has raised in temperature 4.5 degrees off the coast of California. And the temperature, the air temperature, has increased to 4.5 degrees over the drought-stricken land of California. Also, the California drought has lasted exactly the length of time as since the earthquake in Japan, 4 years. So we're seeing an absolute connection here between the animal deaths of the starfish, and then the tuna crabs, and then these weird exotic creatures washing up like oarfishes and different things. All of this is being tied to exactly the seepage of radiation, which he explained earlier in part 1. Within 63 days of Fukushima, high toxic levels of radiation had already made it to the shores of Seattle, Washington. So we will let you listen to part 3 on the next video. This is an interview with Ken Jensen, a scientific researcher from Vancouver, Canada. Are you serious? Are you saved?